Welcome to Questions Just Ask, a weekly, it's not really a devotional, it's just more of a free flowing passage of ideas that circle around questions concerning anything, whether it's the Bible, Jesus, um, me, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'll answer any questions. Just send them to me at john@hopelowcountry.org. That's john@hopelowcountry.org. And I'll answer any one of your questions. And if you want to know what week I'm going to answer them on, I'll let you know. But you got to send the questions in. We were looking at questions banned from the Bible. Why? Because I had run out of questions. I found a book full of questions. Break from it this week. Nah, not this week, this whole month. And it's probably going to go into, let's see, March, April, May, probably through May, about questions Jesus asked that we need to answer. Found this article. It's a great article. And I'm asking these questions, answering these questions. Sometimes there's shorter answers than I thought because Jesus sometimes his answers are very clear. His questions are very clear, and his questions were often to reveal the heart of man. So that's what we're looking at today when we look at Matthew 11:6. No, I'm sorry, Matthew 8:26, where he says, "Why are you terrified?" Got to give you a little background on this. The disciples are heading across the Sea of Galilee, and one of those storms came up, and it was about ready to swallow the boat. Boats weren't like ours today. They couldn't take storms too well. And they're fearful for their lives. They think they're going to die. And Jesus is sleeping in the boat. And they come and wake him up. Hey, 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 Jesus, wake up! And this is where he answers. Why are you terrified? He then gets up and calms the sea, calms the wind. And they go, who is this? The real truth is they didn't know who they were with yet. Oh, he had done miracles. He'd fed 5,000. He'd done other miracles already. But they really didn't understand that he was the Son of God. He asked them. It's almost like he's asking, who do you think I am? Because if I'm just a regular man, yeah, be terrified. Son of God. Why are you terrified at any point? Yeah, emotions kick in. Yeah, we shouldn't wish death or anything like that. But terrified means, in a sense, it's out of your control. Put it in God's control. Put it in his hands. So, because when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to realize who he really is. That's what's going to happen. So why are you terrified? What are you terrified about? I can see disciples. They're in this boat. They're getting ready to think they're going to drown. Water is coming over. They're slowly sinking. I get that. But today we get terrified about things that aren't about life and death. A friend said something to me, and it's got me terrified. I got a notice in the mail, and I'm terrified. We're terrified about things we know nothing about, have no control over. So what Jesus is saying is, are you going to turn to me? You're going to give it up to me? You're going to trust me? You're going to give me your burden? You're going to give me your terror? Good question. Do you really believe who I am? That's what I hear him saying in this question. Do you really believe who I am, the Son of God, and I'll take care of you? Do you really believe that? Well, we should. I was talking to somebody just this morning. He says, in the long run, as a believer in Jesus Christ, I'll be okay. It's just going to look different. It's not going to be what I think it should be. Oh, great statement. I think what we're terrified about is losing the things that we have versus resting solely in Jesus. So, hey, why are you terrified? Because you're looking at the world instead of the. It's sort of like Peter. There's another situation where they're out on Galilee and there's a windstorm, not necessarily rain. It doesn't say rain, it says wind. And walking along the water, and Peter ends up hopping out of the boat and walking toward Jesus. He says, "If it's you, Lord, let me walk to you." And he does. And as long as he has his eyes on Jesus, he's walking the water. But then he turns and looks at the waves, and in a sense, Peter becomes terrified. He begins to drown. Jesus reaches down and rescues him. terrors because we're looking at things of this world. Instead of looking at things of Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. Hey, thanks for joining me this week. Next week, we're going to look at a really interesting question from Matthew 11. It says, to what shall I compare this generation? Again, we'll have to give a little background into that question, but join me next week as we take a look at another question Jesus asked. Thank you.